Family is devastated after losing 8 children in the mass shooting on Sunday.
Shreveport police, the surviving child that escaped by jumping off the roof is a 12-year-old girl, and she is out of the hospital.
On the latest details regarding the families impacted by Sunday's horrific mass shooting in Shreveport that took the lives of 8 young people.
3 days after April 19, 2026, a woman walked out of a hospital in Shreveport, Louisiana with a bullet still inside her body. Her doctors had decided removing it carried more risk than leaving it. She did not go home. She went to the building where her children used to go to school, stood outside, held a balloon, and when the moment came, she let it go. Her name is Christina Snow. And there are mornings she still wakes up believing her children are alive. Her cousin confirmed this to reporters directly. Some days she tells people she needs to get her kids ready for school. Those children are not coming home. What happened in Cedar Grove on April 19, 2026 was covered by every major outlet in America. CNN, NBC, The New York Times. All of them reported the same facts and then moved on. But here is what none of them stayed long enough to fully examine. There was a warning. A specific, spoken, documented warning made 3 years before that Sunday morning. It never reached a single authority. And by the time anyone could have connected it to what was unfolding, 8 children were already gone. To understand how that morning happened, you have to go back to before it. Christina Snow lived on Harrison Street in Cedar Grove. She had 3 children with a man named Shamar Elkins. Breelon, 5 years old. Kadarian, 6. Soraya, 11. 1 block away on West 79th Street, Elkins also lived with his wife Shaniqua Pugh, 34, mother of his 4 daughters. Jayla, 3. Shayla, 5. Kayla, 6. Layla, 7. Also inside that house were Shaniqua's sister Kosha Pugh, her husband Troy Brown, and their 2 children, 10-year-old Mark Aiden and 12-year-old Mariana. 2 households. 7 children. 1 block between them. And by early 2026, a marriage that was coming apart. The divorce had been filed. Troy Brown confirmed to CNN that infidelity was cited. On April 10, 9 days before the shooting, Shaniqua reshared a social media post about choosing herself, her peace, and her freedom. She added 3 words of her own. "This is the one." The court date to finalize the divorce was set for Monday, April 20th. The morning after. Now here is where this case becomes something that most reporting has not fully engaged with. In 2023, Shaniqua had considered leaving. According to Betty Walker, the woman who raised Shamar Elkins and who spoke directly to the New York Times, when Shaniqua raised the possibility of taking the children and walking away, Elkins told her exactly what he would do. He said he would take her life. He would take the children's lives. And then he would take his own. Shaniqua stayed. When she raised it again later, he told her he was just playing. Those words never reached a police officer. They never entered a court record. They never appeared in any domestic violence database. For 3 years, that threat existed only inside this family, invisible to every system designed to act on it. Researchers who study intimate partner violence are consistent on this point. Explicit threats made in the context of a separation are among the strongest documented predictors of lethal outcomes. Not an impulse. Not an accident. A declared intention. At his press conference on April 20th, Shreveport Police Chief Wayne Smith said the chances were good this was not the first time, implying prior incidents that were never reported and never filed. None of it was on record. Here's what that silence cost. In February 2026, Shamar Elkins checked himself into the Veterans Affairs Hospital in Shreveport. According to Betty Walker, what prompted the admission was a suicide attempt. He entered voluntarily and stayed approximately 10 days. Then the VA discharged him back into the exact same conditions. The dissolving marriage. The financial pressure of two households. The same household, the same man, the same trajectory, entirely unchanged. Troy Brown asked him directly when he returned whether he thought he needed to go back. Elkins said he was fine. His exact words: "I'm just going to deal with it." 10 days after discharge, he posted publicly on social media asking God to help him guard his mind and his emotions. That post was visible to anyone reading his page. On Easter Sunday, April 5th, 2 weeks before the shooting, Elkins called his mother and stepfather in Oklahoma. He was in tears. He described dark thoughts. He described the divorce. His stepfather Marcus tried to reassure him. Then Elkins said something Marcus could not set aside afterward. "Some people don't come back from their demons." The call ended. No welfare check followed. No crisis line was contacted. As the New York Times noted, most families respond this way because most of the time a conversation like that one does not end the way this one did. But the VA has never publicly answered the questions this discharge raises. Whether a lethality screening was conducted before he was released. Whether the pending divorce was flagged as an elevated risk factor. Whether his 2019 criminal conviction, which legally barred him from possessing any firearm until at least 2029, was ever cross-referenced with his discharge plan. As of today, no public answer to any of those questions exists. That 2019 conviction matters because on the morning of April 19th, Elkins had access to 2 weapons. On April 21st, the U.S. Department of Justice announced the arrest of 56-year-old Charles Ford, a Shreveport resident and convicted felon, charged with illegally possessing a firearm and making false statements to federal agents. ATF investigators traced the weapon back to its original legal purchaser, who told agents she had given it to Ford. According to court documents, Ford had confronted Elkins when he suspected Elkins had taken it. Elkins became aggressive. Ford let the matter go. 2 convicted felons. 1 weapon that should never have been in either of their hands. A prohibition on record since 2019 that no system enforced until 8 children were gone. And as of April 26, a 3rd name entered the public record. A man identified by family as Michael Myance, someone who had known Elkins for 25 years, was federally charged with illegally possessing a firearm while subject to an active domestic violence protection order, which prohibited him from owning any weapon. 3 people connected to illegal firearms in a single case. 3 separate points of failure in systems that exist precisely to prevent this. On the evening of April 18th, the night before, Elkins took his eldest daughter out on a date. Just the 2 of them. He posted it on social media. Shaniqua reshared it and wrote that as long as her daughter was happy, she was happy. That post went up the night before. At 9 in the evening, Troy Brown left for his night shift. Elkins was sitting on the front porch, calm, joking with Brown as he backed the car out. 10-year-old Mark Aiden was inside that house when Brown drove away. Mark Aiden did not survive the night. Researchers who study familicide describe a consistent pattern. The perpetrator rarely acts from sudden impulse. The hours before are often marked by an unusual stillness. People describe nothing out of the ordinary. What has shifted is not emotion. It is that a decision has already been made. At approximately 5 in the morning, Elkins went to Christina Snow's home on Harrison Street. She had no warning. When she was able to reach emergency services despite life-threatening injuries, she used Siri to place the call. Elkins then took her 3 children and drove 1 block to West 79th Street. At 5:55 in the morning, Shreveport police received the first call. Within minutes, officers were working 5 separate crime scenes simultaneously. Koshapew had made it to the roof. Children inside had tried to find a way out through the rear door. At 7:30 in the morning, Shamar Elkins was pronounced dead in Bossier City following a confrontation with officers after a carjacking and chase. Whether he died from officer gunfire or a self-inflicted wound remains under active investigation by Louisiana State Police. Now we say their names. Jayla Elkins, 3 years old. Shayla Elkins, 5. Breelon Snow, 5. Kadarian Snow, 6. Kayla Pugh, 6. Layla Pugh, 7. Mark Aiden Pugh, 10. Soraya Snow, 11. Soraya had plans to open a homeless shelter one day. Her brothers Breelon and Kadarian wanted to be community leaders. 5 girls. 3 boys. All of them gone before Cedar Grove finished waking up on a Sunday morning. Their uncle Lionel Pugh told reporters that approximately 20 years ago, in this same month of April, both Shaniqua and Kosha lost their mother in a crossfire shooting in Shreveport. 2 sisters who had already buried a mother taken by gun violence, who had already rebuilt from that loss, and 20 years later, in the same city, in the same month, it came back for their children. Before April 19th, 5 separate data points existed across different systems. A 2019 firearms conviction. A February 2026 VA hospitalization following a confirmed suicide attempt. A 2023 death threat that never reached any official record. A divorce with a court date the following morning. And a man living in the same house who asked directly whether help was needed. Not one of those points connected to another. Not one triggered a cross-agency response. Not one was enough. If someone came to mind while you were listening, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. Christina Snow walked out of that hospital with a bullet still in her body. She went to that school building. She released a balloon. She showed up. The question this case leaves is the one that matters most. At which point could this have been stopped, and which door needs to stay open for the next family?